Hey everybody, this is your Right Geek, honorary man king, and leader of the Awkward Cough Squad, here with the first video that you've seen from me in quite some time. And I want to explain exactly what happened to me and why I suddenly disappeared and was no longer doing my weekly videos. So here it is, the long story of what happened. Basically, at the beginning of September, I started feeling very, very unwell. I was feeling nauseous. I was feeling very weak. My muscles were very weak. Every time I tried to exert myself in any way, just walking to the mailbox would make my heart pound like crazy. And I would get really, really out of breath. Like I couldn't even draw in a complete breath. So basically what happened was on September 3rd, I ended up going to the ER because not only was I dealing with all these other symptoms, but I also started having difficulty just swallowing like basic food. Like I couldn't even eat anymore. So I knew I was in kind of this sort of dangerous situation. So I went to the ER, and while I was at the ER, they discovered in the all the tests that they were running on me, which included the heart test, because I mentioned, my heart racing, and I mentioned not being able to get good breaths and so on. They discovered that I had very high levels of something called troponin in my blood. And that basically, most of the time, what that means is that somebody's had a heart attack or that there's been some damage to the heart. So I ended up in ICU for a day because they were very concerned, based on how high my troponin levels were, that something really dangerous was going on with my heart. So they wanted to monitor that more closely. So they did all like EKGs, excuse me, the echocardiograms, all that stuff. They imaged my heart basically every way they could think of. They also did a cardiac cath to look at the vessels around my heart to see if there were any blockages or anything. Kind of the standard stuff you do when you're looking at a middle-aged patient who seems to have a heart injury. And what they found was nothing. Basically, they could find absolutely nothing wrong with my heart. So then that kind of opened up a medical mystery, because what was causing the enzymes in my blood, if it wasn't in fact the heart, if the heart was not in fact damaged or inflamed. So they had to look for some rarer causes of that. And as it turns out, there is an autoimmune condition called myositis that can also cause troponin levels to go up in the absence of any actual heart injury. So thinking it was possibly that, I got transferred from my local hospital, which is good at the basic stuff, but not real good at anything that is, rare or, unusual. I got transferred to the bigger teaching hospital that is closer to the city, so that some more big-time specialists could take a look at me. And they started pursuing the idea that it was a rheumatological condition, that it was autoimmune, kind of like the diseases you all, if you've been listening to this channel for a while, you all know that I have already been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I was diagnosed with that when I was quite young. And I've known I'd had that for decades, basically. And, I've always known that there have been autoimmune things going on in my body since essentially I was in college. But this is kind of a new development now, because now it's not now my immune system is not only attacking my my joints, the connective tissue in my joints, but now it seems to be going after my muscles too, and my skin. Because as it turns out, over the spring, I was kind of noticing over time that I was developing these really itchy red rashes on my face, on my shoulders, and basically like all my joints, like on the knuckles of my hands and stuff like that. And, I wrote that off as, oh, I must be having an allergic reaction to something in the house, or, oh, this is eczema or something like that. But it turns out that those rashes were also a part of this same condition that they believe that I have. Basically, the full name of the condition is dermatomyositis. So in addition to the rheumatoid arthritis, I now have dermatomyositis, and possibly also the less severe version of scleroderma. So I got apparently up to 3 things going on in my body that are basically attacking and trying to destroy my healthy tissue. Basically where I've been is I've been in the hospital while they've been trying to go through this diagnostic procedure to figure out what's going on. They were also looking for possible underlying reasons for why this would be happening, because the dermatomyositis in particular has a documented elevated cancer risk that sometimes it can be what they call paraneoplastic, meaning it comes along with some sort of underlying cancer, usually of the reproductive tract, or possibly the thyroid, or possibly the colon. All of those things have been checked, and so far they haven't seen anything suspicious. But for the next couple of years, I'm going to have to, keep checking those things, because apparently up to about 5 years outside of a diagnosis of this, the cancer, whatever the underlying cancer is, might show up. That's what they said. So we'll be looking for the cancer, but hopefully I fall into the percentage of people who do not have cancer, rather than the percentage of people who do. But so far, everything looks pretty clean. And right now, what we need to do is we just need to treat the inflammatory process that is making it difficult for me to swallow, making my thigh muscles and my arm muscles weak, making my diaphragm and my core muscles weak. You may notice that my voice sounds a little bit softer and weaker, and that is because, like, my diaphragm and the muscles in my stomach and my throat muscles are not as strong, so projecting my voice is a little more difficult. Right now, I am on high-dose immunosuppressive medication to try to get that inflammation under control. Obviously, very shortly, I'm going to be seeing the rheumatologists again, and they're going to add some more medications to the regimen. I'm sure methotrexate will get in there somewhere. I'm familiar with that one. That's immunosuppressive. There might be some other ones that they will try. They also, while I was in the hospital, they gave me some courses of IVIG as well, because apparently that can have an impact on the symptoms of dermatomyositis, or can help bring it under control. But based on what I've read online and my own research, because I'm the sort of patient who likes to research whatever's happening to me, it's probably going to be a couple of months before I'm back to basically where I was before this whole inflammatory flare started. And I'm just going to have to muddle through in the meantime. But I am back, and next week I hope to have some more comic commentary or fandom commentary to offer to you for our weekly video. Thank you for listening to me ramble about why exactly I suddenly disappeared. Um, I am happy to be back home and out of the hospital. And even though I'm still in treatment, still dealing with this flare up that has suddenly come on, um, I'm happy to be back. And thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next week.